Hey guys, Lee with LG Speed and Custom here. Good news, the 32 passed inspection and has license plates now. It is 100% legal on the road, which is great. Bad news, it's pushing water out of spark plug holes. Yep, not happy. It's not a happy camper. So, a few days ago, passed inspection. No problems, passed with flying colors. Go to get it registered and insured. I had to drive the car to the registration place because they have to physically have somebody there to cite the serial number in person. No big deal. I hopped in the car, drove up to the gas station that we were going to when the radiator fan mashup happened, when the generator strap broke and the generator and the fan assembly fell into the radiator. Went back to that gas station, driving along there, and right in the exact same spot that catastrophe happened, poof, coolant on my windshield again. Oh no, what's up with that? So I pulled into the gas station, and thankfully it was something really simple. It was where the rad cap goes on, this little lip, it must have got a little bit bent when it was in the crate coming back, and the little tang on the bottom of the rad cap just didn't catch. Not a huge deal. Went over, a friend of mine works at the automotive shop at the same gas station, so I borrowed a screwdriver from him, straightened it out, it locked on good. It lost a bit of water when that happened. I had water with me, so I dumped a whole 1 gallon jug in there, and it didn't fill it right full, but I was like, it's probably enough. Put gas in the car, and I got about, 5 blocks to drive to where the registration and insurance place is. Driving down there, I took the back roads because I don't really have any mileage on this thing, and I noticed I was driving there, the temperature came up to 180, which is good. Came up to 200. It's a little hot. 220, and then it almost got to 240. And it started spewing a little bit. And I was like, it's probably just working an air bubble out. And sure enough, it started dropping back down. Came back down to about 200, then it'll go up to 220, back down to 200. By the time I got to the registration place, it was back up to 240. So I was like, maybe that jug that I dumped in, maybe that wasn't enough. Went inside, got all the paperwork handled, came out happy, license plates and everything. That took about an hour and a half, that whole procedure, so it had plenty of time to cool down. Fired the car up, drove it back to the shop, which again was only about 4 or 5 blocks. It wasn't far. But on the way back, started creeping up past 200, past 220, past 240. Came back, shut the car off, let it cool down, filled the rad up, and that was it. I didn't have anywhere else to go. I had somewhere I had to be that night. We were going for dinner with some friends, so I just left it at that. Today, which is the next day, I go to check the oil this morning, and it is like milkshake colored, and it is really high up on the dipstick. And I'm like, is that a head gasket issue? Or maybe my friend Shane, when we took this all apart, my friend Shane used paint stripper and a pressure washer and got all the orange paint off the engine. I wonder how much water got in the engine from him pressure washing it. That's probably what it is. And that combined with maybe a little bit of condensation from the last little bit while this car's being together, I'd start it and move it outside and it'd run for a couple minutes and I'd shut it off. So I drained all the oil out. A lot came out, a lot more than should be in there. And like I mentioned, it was gross. It was not oil colored. So I went down to the store and saw Glenn, and I just got a jug of the cheapest oil that he had, and I was like, I'm just gonna do a quick flush on this thing, see what happens. I forgot to bring my wallet, so Glenn, he's a rad guy, he let me just take the oil. So come back, pay me later. So I came back, dumped the oil in, this is a great opportunity to go for a little road test. So I drove over to see Glenn, and on the way there, again, it came up to like 240, but then dropped down to 180, then up to 200, then 180, then up to 220, then down to 200, then up to 240. It's like, oh man. So I drove there, drove back here, checked the oil again, and it's just cream again. Sat there looking at it, pulled the spark plugs out, and the two rear spark plugs had water droplets on it. So I'm thinking I might need to do head gaskets. I don't know if that's something that just happened recently, or if you remember when I first bought this car almost 3 years ago when I drove it home, it had no gauges hooked up to it. And that was like a 4-hour drive home. So I didn't think that it got too hot, because usually when an engine's really hot, you know it. Like the rad hoses start quivering, steam's coming out of places. Like it gives you plenty of warning signs besides a gauge that says, hey, not cool, things aren't cool here. And I never did any of that, so I assumed it was good, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I mean, even just now like today driving it, when it was at 240, like the rad hoses weren't quivering. I kind of suspected maybe it was a bad temperature sender, that the sending unit isn't working right. And that's what Shannon was like, oh, maybe you could try putting another gauge in it. But then when I pulled the plugs out and the two rear plugs had water droplets on them, I was like, I don't know. So I think in this video, we're gonna pull some heads. Hopefully they come off okay. We don't break any head studs. That's what I'm kind of concerned about. But it shouldn't be too bad. I have I have head gaskets in stock, so that's not a big deal. We basically just gotta pop all these acorn caps off, undo the rad hose, drain whatever's left in there out, and pull 24 head studs out. Pop the head off, check the gasket, put a new gasket back on, put it back together, do the same on the other side. So let's grab a drain pan and drain the water out of this. Thankfully, I've only put water in it so far. I don't put antifreeze or coolant in cars until after I'm like satisfied that everything's good, just because it's so much easier to deal with when they just have water in them and you just have to drain the water out, or when it pukes all over the side of the car, you don't have greasy coolant to clean up. Shannon and I got both head gaskets off, and I don't see any like obvious burn through spots, but I've noticed on both head gaskets, like look at all the burn around the outside of the combustion chamber. So that, along with the heads, like, you know, when you pop a head off, sometimes you got to use a pry bar. You know all about that, right? You got to use a pry bar because they're like sealed on there. Well, these ones, when we got the last bolt off, they like literally just lifted off. Daddy, so Daddy, I'm wondering if the heads like weren't torqued properly and this like didn't seal properly. Shannon gave the other side a visual inspection. I haven't looked super close at this side with the light yet, but we haven't seen like any obvious cracks or anything inside. So I think we're going to clean it up and put new gaskets in it and put it back together. I had one head stud break or head bolt, and unfortunately it broke almost flush. What I'm going to do, I think, is just try to weld a big nut on there. And that will do two things. One, by welding the nut on, we can actually put a socket or a wrench back on to have something to twist. But also, when you weld, the heat goes into that, which makes it expand. And that will like break the rust loose and make it come out easy. No, we're gonna have to drill it. Okay. Lame. Well, that didn't work. I don't think there's enough stud sticking through that I could like nicely weld it. So we're gonna drill it out. Shannon just brought over my transfer punches. These, if you don't know what they are, these are like all the most common bolt hole sizes. And the end has a nice little point on it. So what I'm gonna do is put this head back on, put a few bolts in it, and that will get the head where it needs to be. And then this transfer punch fits really nice in that hole. Then we can give it a tap, and it will center punch that bolt. And then we got a nice hole or a nice indent to drill our pilot hole. The head's bolted back on with a few bolts. Now we should have our hole. And there we have our center punch hole right there. So that went as horrible as it could possibly go. Easy out wouldn't work. So I ended up drilling it and tapping it. And while the tap is out, just gonna clean all the holes out. So this oil doesn't look as gross as the first batch of oil that I drained out, but it does also only have about like, I don't know, half an hour, 20 minutes of runtime on it. So I'm just gonna let it drain out here for a while, clear the pan right out as much as possible. I also haven't put the oil filter back on. I've just got a bypass on here, and that is because I want to bring this up to operating temperature. Obviously, once it has new oil and there's no water in it yet, but bring it up to operating temperature and let it run for a bit, and then let it cool down, and then retorque the heads. And when the oil filter is on there, it's really hard to get to these head bolts. So we'll put that on after we retorque the heads. Other than that, I think it's all back together. It's all back together. It's all full of oil. It's got water in it. Let's fire the car up now, bring it up to temperature, see what happens. notice the car is inside the shop now, not outside anymore. You'll also notice the oil filter is back on. My little bypass hose that I put on just made a big mess. I don't know if it was too big or if I wasn't paying attention when I put it on, but it got oil everywhere. It's got oil pressure. Oil all over the firewall, and I couldn't even clean it off nicely. I don't know about where you guys all live, but Brake Clean changed their formula, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, and the Brake Clean that I've always known and used for years no longer exists. This is, I don't know if it's like environmentally friendly brake cleaner or what the deal is. It still works to clean up oil, but it also wipes off paint. So I'm terrified to wipe my firewall with Brake Clean on a rag. So I just wiped all the oil off just with a rag. The reason we're back in the shop, the car died, and I went to restart it, and my starter sounds like it's full of rocks. So yeah, if it's not one thing, it's another. I've got a spare starter upstairs, so I got to go dig it out, jack the car up, pull the starter off. All right, we're way up on the 3rd floor. Okay, we've got generators, we've got brakes. What do we got down here? Pedal assemblies, heaters. There they are. Back there, I got 3 starters to choose from. I don't know if they work or not. I bought those at an estate sale last summer, and the guy who owned them is dead, so I never asked him if they worked or not, but they're painted nice and black, so I mean, they look good at least. Which one do we want? I'm going to pick this one. Okay, mystery starter. Oh yeah. Okay, let's just let it sit here and warm up. About 135, 140 degrees on the gauge. That's reading 130 on the head. Thermostats are still at 80. Dribbling out a little bit here, that's normal. I'm just gonna go for a little trip around the block. The temperature did get up to like 220 for a second, but now it dropped down to 180, so it could have been an air bubble that worked itself out, or it's still broken. But going around the block, we'll be able to determine that. It's down to below 180 now, so that's good. Just coming around for a full lap on the block, and we're still sitting right at 180. This is great. I think we're good again. I think we're problem solved. Well, that's, pretty reassuring. Let's let it cool down and we'll retorque the heads and then maybe see if we can go more than 3 blocks in it. It's the next morning. Everything is completely cooled down, so I retorqued the heads. Putting my chrome acorn caps back on. Once I get those back on, we'll go for a longer drive and see what else is wrong with it. Confidence is at an all-time high. Acorn caps are all on. Just gonna give it a little wipe down with some glass cleaner because my fenders are covered in a mixture of oil, coolant, and a lot of really tiny peanut butter fingerprints. I don't want to wipe it with brake clean because, like I mentioned earlier, it just eats paint. Actually, when I wiped the engine down after I put all the acorn nuts on, and the oil filter lid, I had a little bit of brake clean that was just sprayed on a rag, and I wiped the lid, and yeah, paint came right off it. So, isn't that great? If anybody has any solutions for brake clean that doesn't eat paint, let me know. Glass cleaner did not really touch the peanut butter fingerprints. You might actually need to wash it. Oh, come on. Well, it's a little cold-blooded. It just woke up. Let's go for a little drive. Just out running a couple errands. We made it to our first stop, trouble-free. It's got a little bit of a clutch chatter that I think I can live with. I think it's like magnified by the lack of interior. These seats, these are the original seats, and they're a little weird to sit on. They're like sitting on beach balls because they I think could be because of the lack of upholstery. But yeah, they wiggle around a lot. But other than that, kind of drives okay. Door on the driver's side's got a bit of an annoying rattle. Again, I think it's magnified by the lack of interior. But yeah, so far so good. I don't know where to go next. This is still that same battery, by the way. I never did end up changing the battery. I just put the trickle charger on it for a day and it's fine now. There's that clutch chatter. Like I said, I think it's just magnified by the lack of interior. Stop in at Bumperland and say hi to Glenn, who was a big part of helping this car come together. Glenn's doing good. He's keeping busy in there, so I'm not going to bug him. I don't need anything. I don't know where to go next. Let's go left. Venture into downtown. That'll be a good temperature test. I am gonna need a traffic light viewfinder because this is what I see. And that's what I need to see. Or maybe I could drop the seats down too. That's an option. Victoria's Chinatown, the oldest Chinatown in Canada, with a very dark history. At one time, it was the largest opium import network for North America. All right, we're back from like our shakedown run, our road test. The first successful one. We've had a couple shakedown road test runs. We had the generator strap break on one of them, and the generator and fan assembly fall into the radiator. On that note, my friend John Nason was by the other day, and he came up with this great idea. See this? This is a 3/16 bracket that goes from the back down to the intake manifold, so that if this bolt ever did snap again, there's another point to stop it from falling in. So I thought that was a great idea, and I'm definitely a lot more confident in that now. Anyways, that was like disaster number one. Then we had the whole like overheating issue, which was extremely frustrating. Thought we got that solved, and then the starter wasn't like a huge deal. It's just at the time, that was yesterday when I changed the starter, and like this whole week I've been like fighting this like flu bug, and I've had really low energy, and just like I wasn't sick enough that I was like stuck in bed. I was sick enough that it was just like annoying. So I don't know. It wasn't a huge deal now, but at the time I was like, I'm ready to light this car on fire and push it outside and film it burning so that you guys can all watch it just go. But I think we're doing okay now. I think we're gonna be friends. We are gonna be friends. So, couple things, like I talked about earlier, we got the clutch chatter to deal with. We've got the springy seats. It's like sitting on a beach ball or an exercise ball going down the road, but I think I can live with that for now. Got the door rattle, which, again, like the clutch chatter, I think it's magnified by the lack of interior. And like my ear is right here, and it's like right in my ear going down the road. But I mean, old cars rattle. My Roadster rattles. Shannon's Meteor, actually, it doesn't really rattle that much. 2.5 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? It's been 2.5 years. Wow. Obviously, this car is not done. It is far from done. There's probably another 2.5 years, probably another 2 decades of tinkering on this car, to be honest. But it's at the point now where I consider a car to be done. When it's at the point where it's licensed, insured, roadworthy, and you can jump in it and take it to cruise night, which, by the way, there's cruise night tonight. Don't know if I'm gonna go, though. I'm not really a huge cruise night person. A lot of the, I don't know, cruise night crowds just don't really appreciate early hot rods, I found. They're more numbers matching Camaro kind of people. But yeah, when a car is like roadworthy to the point that you can hop in it and drive, that's when I consider it to be done. And I don't mean done as in like a fully finished car. I mean like it's not a project car at that point, at least in my mind. What's your definition of a done car? My friend Brian the car guy, him and I were talking about this yesterday, actually. because he has a collection of the nicest cars I've been friends with car people my entire life, and he has the nicest car collection out of anyone I've ever met. And any one of his cars you can jump in at any point and like drive to Mexico in it. And he's all like, oh, my cars are garbage. This car's got a rattle here, or there's a little squeak here that I don't like. This, at a certain speed, if I turn left, I don't like the way it feels. And it's like, dude, your cars are done. They're done. That's done. That is a done car. It will never ever get any better than that. So anyways, that's his definition of a done car, is like every nut and bolt perfectly dialed in. The car is like better than when it rolled off the showroom floor. What's your thought of a done car? I'm just getting feedback. I'm writing an article in the next Canadian Hot Rods on this, so let me know. Anyways, I don't know what to do with the rest of the day. It's a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. I might go drive around. I might work on brown sugar. I don't know. Either way, we're going to end this video here. Thanks so much for watching. As always, make sure to check out the website, lgspeedcustom.com, and get some LG Speed and Custom merch. Thanks again, everybody that has been watching this build from day one. What a journey it has been. Let's end this video with let's do like a little photo montage of the last 2.5 years on this car. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate the support. See you guys on the next video.